Unit 4 Basic ABAP Language Elements. Lesson Working with Elementary Data Objects. Lesson Overview. In this lesson, you will become familiar with the difference between data types and data objects, and you will learn how to define and use these in a program. You will also learn some basic ABAP statements. You will be working with structures and internal tables, as well as program flow control and logical expressions. Business example. You are supposed to use simple variables in your programs and edit these with simple statements. Data types and data objects. A formal variable description is called data type. In contrast, a variable concretely defined by means of a data type is called data object. Let's have a look at the ABAP standard type predefined by SAP. Implemented types. First, these are divided into two groups: complete types and the incomplete types. Let's talk about the complete types. The following implemented ABAP standard types are complete. This means that they already contain the type-related fixed length information. You don't have to define the length for the complete type. Complete ABAP standard types. Let's take a look at some complete types. Type for date, D. The format is YYY, Y, that means the year, MM, that means the month, and DD, that means the day, and it is length 8 fixed. The type for time, T, the format is HH for hour, MM for minutes, and SS for seconds, length 6. And the type for integer, I, it's length 4, fixed. We also have the type for floating point number, F, that it is length 8. We have the type string. It is the type for dynamic length character string. And we have the type X string. It is the type for dynamic length byte sequence, hexadecimal string. The following standard types do not contain a fixed length. They are incomplete. With this, the length of the variable has to be specified for data object definitions. Contrary to complete types, the incomplete types doesn't have a fixed length. You have to define a length for the incomplete types. Let's take a look at some SAP ABAP standard incomplete types. Type for character string, C, for which the fixed length is to be specified. The type for numerical character string, N, for which the fixed length is to be specified. The numerical character string is a type that accepts numbers, but it is treated, these numbers are treated as characters, but you can still perform arithmetic calculations with these numbers. The type for byte sequence, X, hexadecimal string, for which the fixed length is to be specified. The type for packed number, P, for which the fixed length is to be specified also. In the definition of a packed number, the number of decimal points may also be specified. For more information on predefined ABAP types, refer to the keyword documentation on the types or data statement. You can use the F1 keyboard to refer to the documentation. Defining data objects. Inside an ABAP program, you can declare data objects or declare variables. You can use local types to define the type of a variable. You can use global types stored in the ABAP dictionary to define the type of a variable, or you can use install ABAP types. Those are the types that we just talked about. The type D for date, the T for time, E for integer, F for float, P for packed number, or you can use these to represent a decimal number, the type N, the type C character, and the type X string and X string. Let's practice inside the subsystem declaring some type. So let's practice some complete and incomplete types inside our system. So let's navigate to the Object Navigator. As you would know by now, it's transaction SE80. And let's do something different. Instead of working inside our package ZABAP course, we're going to use the local objects in our system to work with. When you work with the local objects, you don't have to assign the object to a package or to a change request. The object stays local to the system and it cannot be transported. So let's use local objects, and then we press enter for our user. We will have the system display a list of all of our local objects that cannot be transported because they are local. So let's create a program to practice some complete types and incomplete types. Let's uncheck this and let's call this program C data types. Okay, let's choose this type an executable program and let's save. It asks for us for a package. I told you that we're going to be working with local objects, so let's choose local object. Now our program is saved. So let's practice with the complete types first. Remember? So let's start with the data type. Let's declare some variables and practice with them. So data LB local variable, date, type D. Let's declare a time type, data time type T. Let's declare an integer, so that will be data LB int type I. Let's declare a floating type, data LB float type F. As you can see, I'm not defining the length of any of these types because they are complete types. A string and X string. We declare data LB string type, use the word string, and data local variable X string type X string. Oops, sorry. Let's declare also some incomplete types. So that will be the character type. These are incomplete types. And the ones above were complete types. So it's the character type. So we declare data lb car type C, and then we have to specify a length for this. So we use the keyword length, and let's specify it a 30 position character. Then we have the type numerical character type. That will be num_c type n, and we specify the length. Let's specify a 10 length. We have the hexadecimal type x length 6, and we have the pack number, or for decimals we use lb pack type p length 6 decimals to specify how many decimals after the point or comma, depending on what area type, where area you live. In my area we use the point to separate decimal numbers. So decimals 2. We save and we check our syntax, it's okay. Now let's try assigning some values to the data type and the time type, and let's print it out to the system screen. So for data, for example, the variable data, let's assign the system data. How do we do this? We use the keyword sci dash datum, that is the date inside this system or inside the server. And let's write that to the screen. That'll be date lv date. You see it turn red because I have a mistake. I'm missing a comma. Okay, and let's also let's assign the time, the current time of the system. So we use time and we assign the sci, and in this time we select this strange German, or I don't know what language is this word, usate, and then let's write it to the screen. Write. I use a backslash to indicate a new line, and I use time, comma, and I write the time. So let's activate the program. We select from the work list our program, and let's run our program. So you can see our program prints out the date and the time. So you can see you can only see like a lot of numbers with no format, but this is today's date. Today is the 8th of July of 2014, and it is 10:47:49 with 49 seconds. Sometimes we need to format this to present it to the final user in a more friendly way. So let's take a look how to do that. To do that, you need to declare another variable, a character type variable. So let's declare another date, date 2, type C for character, and I specify the length. Let's give it 30 positions. Now I use the keyword write to give format to my date. Write, and I write our date, our first variable, to our second variable, that is type C, and then we specify the format. We want the format to be day, month, year, with a separator. And let's write this will write our result of date to our variable day 2. And now we need to write that to the screen. So we use write again, this to indicate a new line, and I will write the date with format, and I will write the second date. Let's activate our program and let's run. As you can see, we have the first date and the second date that we can understand much better. We use a separator. In this case, the system uses a dot to separate the day from the month from the year. Let's do the same with the time. So for the time, we declare another character type variable, type 2, type C, length 30 also, and now we also use the keyword write lb time 2, lb time 2, and now you use the keywords using edit mask, and you specify the mask you want. We want this mask, and now we need to write that to the system. So we use the write also with format, and we write our second variable this time. So now let's check the syntax of our program. Everything is okay, so we activate, and we run our program. I'm sorry, I have a mistake here. Yes, I'm sorry, it was time. I was using the date. So I activate again, and now I run the program. As you can see now, my time without format and the time with format is 10 hours 52 minutes 24 seconds. So these were some of examples of the complete and the incomplete type. You can practice more inside the system. To practice, you can always use the documentation. For example, if you want to learn about the data, you highlight data and press F1 in the system, and here you can learn how to declare using predefined types, reference to existing types, and reference variable structure in internal tables that we'll see later on this course. Data objects are always defined with the data keyword. You can use an ABAP standard type, a local type, or a global type to type a data object. You can refer to an already defined data object when defining additional variables, using the like addition. If the type information is missing in a variable definition, the standard type C is assumed. In contrast, if the length is missing, then the appropriate default length for the incomplete standard type is used. The data myBar statement without type or length information defines a character variable with a length of 1 as the default length of type C is 1. Literals and constants belong to the fixed data objects. You can use literal